Some would say the gaming industry is a bit of a mess. We've got half-baked buggy games launching at full price, games that aren't even finished that sometimes get finished. We've got live service garbage that shuts down within weeks, and now we've got AI-generated crap creeping into games. So yeah, it's a bit messy. And for once, we actually got some good news. The Switch 2 has finally been announced. What can go wrong? Oh, god damn it! The gaming industry is in one of the worst spots I've seen in years. Now, we're no strangers to a buggy and broken game. That's been happening since the Atari era. But we're at a point where I'm not even sure if some of these buggy, busted-ass games are even made by actual people anymore. And on top of all that, the cost of games keeps going up. Games, consoles, hardware, everything. And now we got the Switch 2 releasing into this dumpster fire of a market that's uncertain, definitely oversaturated, expensive. It's also releasing underpowered compared to PlayStation and Xbox, and yet somehow I feel like that's exactly what we need right now. If you look at the current generation of consoles, one thing stands out. Where the hell are the exclusives, especially for the PS5? I'd bring up Xbox, but let's be honest, they haven't really been worth mentioning. And Nintendo? Well, Nintendo has been pumping out games. Not to say Sony or even Microsoft over here hasn't been making some banger games. They have.
Thanks.
But not at the rate or consistency that Nintendo has been going. You don't see Nintendo dumping hundreds of millions into a live service cash grab just to see it shut down within weeks. And don't even get me started on Xbox, buying out studios only to lay them off. You, Michael. Let's be real. Sony and Microsoft don't even take risks anymore. Nintendo, for all their weird, dumb decisions, at least experiments. Now imagine a world where the Switch didn't exist. Would PlayStation or Xbox ever make a game like Pikmin? Would they have taken a risk on something like Tears of the Kingdom's insane physics engine? Hell no. They'd just be recycling the same formulas forever. And that's assuming they even make games. Xbox is trying to turn consoles into a subscription service. If you think Xbox wants to keep making physical consoles forever, I got bad news for you. They don't. Microsoft is all in on cloud gaming and subscriptions. They want a future where you don't even own your games. Nintendo, for all their faults, has at least shown they don't need a $500 million budget to make a great game. They already proved this with the Switch 1. Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, even freaking Mario Party. All of them sold millions. No insane budgets, no predatory monetization. That's why I think the Switch 2 could be a turning point somewhat. When hardware is weaker, devs can't just brute force their way to better graphics. They actually have to focus on gameplay, art direction, and creativity. That's why Wind Waker still looks amazing, while some photorealistic games from 5 years ago already look outdated. The market is way more crowded now. Since the original Switch launched, handheld gaming has exploded. My boy Bobby over here basically has a career talking about handhelds now because there's a new one dropping every other week. So no, the Switch 2 isn't gonna match the Switch 1's numbers, and honestly, that's good. Competition is good. It'll force Nintendo to actually try, and hopefully that means banger first-party titles and maybe, just maybe, a better online service. I'm not saying the Switch 2 is gonna change everything, but if it succeeds, it might actually push the industry towards away from bloated budgets, live service scams, and this AI-generated crap that just seems to be freaking everywhere. Like, how are people even buying this crap? Like, have you seen Steam recently? It's like all over the Steam pages of just AI-generated crap. I'm really hoping Nintendo doesn't add this to the eShop, but I digress. But if the Switch 2 really fails, and I'm not saying like a failure in Nintendo's eyes, but actually flops, like we get another Wii U situation, oh boy, get ready for more $70 broken games, more studio layoffs, and even less originality. So yeah, I want the Switch to succeed. Not because I love Nintendo, but because if it fails, gaming is just gonna keep getting worse. If Xbox and PlayStation are the only options, do you think they're gonna try as hard? Hell no. Competition is the only reason we get good games, good hardware, and innovation. Nintendo's existence forces Sony and Microsoft to stay competitive. The Switch forced Sony to take handheld seriously again. Now we have the PlayStation Portal. The Switch's success with hybrid gaming made Valve go all in on the Steam Deck. Even Xbox tried to copy Nintendo's portability with cloud gaming and failed, but still. If Nintendo disappeared, you better believe Sony and Xbox would get lazy as hell. More expensive consoles, more microtransactions, They already have a bad habit of trying to milk us for everything we've got, where you just stream your games from their servers. And if Xbox does it, guess what? Sony would follow right behind them, because if Xbox gets away with it, Sony will too. If Nintendo wasn't in the picture, who's gonna stop them? If Nintendo wasn't around, they wouldn't even have to pretend to care. Have you seen Helldivers? Did you see what happened with them? But with Nintendo, you buy a cartridge, you own it. No forced updates just to play single player. No always online DRM nonsense. If Nintendo goes away, physical games are done. There's one thing that can really screw them over, and that's tariffs. Because right now, the cost of making games is out of control. AAA studios are spending hundreds of millions just to make their games stand out. Bigger graphics, more realistic visuals, but at what cost? It doesn't matter how big or graphically stunning a game is if it's boring and a broken-ass mess. And that's how we end up with battle passes, microtransactions, deluxe editions that somehow cost as much as a week's worth of groceries. And they justify all this nonsense because they need to make their money back. Right now, there's talks of tariffs on electronics, which means prices on consoles, controllers, SSDs, GPUs, pretty much everything could skyrocket. The PS5 and Xbox Series X already had to raise their prices in some regions, and the Switch 2, it's already rumored to be over $400. But if the tariffs hit, that price can go even higher. And guess what? These companies aren't going to just eat those costs. They'll pass them on to you, to us. Even higher game prices, more microtransactions, more deluxe editions that somehow cost more than $130. At this rate, we're one step away from paying a subscription fee just to press the fucking pause button. Can't break the box. There we go.